Activity detected in target area. I hope I'm mistaken.
Okay, so for the builds that I was using earlier, as you can see, I was mainly focusing on bounce and shrapnel. That's my build. For the builds that I was using, let's get to the shrapnel build. Yeah, so my weapon was a G17 Dusty with 2 stars at max calibration, and I'm using precision style on it with weak spot damage bonus. For my secondary, I'm using the Wildfire with rapid shot and weak spot. It's not yet fully optimized. You don't need it, you just need it for the bullseye. For my melee, I'm using the long axe for that fortress warfare buff. For my gear, I'm using 4-piece agent mask. You can do better if you want, but this is the cheapest option that I can use and easiest to get. And for my key armor, I'm using the beret for that extra shrapnel hit part. For my one piece, I'm using lone wolf, or you could for that magazine capacity, or you could use the Bastille for that extra 10% damage. Okay, for my mods, on my pistol, I'm using a shrapnel souvenir so that it automatically refills bullets when your shrapnel hits a weak spot, which is actually very important in this build. It's gonna be your shrapnels are gonna be hitting mainly the weak spot with this build. For my wildfire, I'm using vulnerability amplifier for that extra 8% vulnerability increase. For my axe, this is not important. For my helmet, I'm gonna be using precise strike precision. You're gonna wanna be focusing on precision for that extra weak spot damage. For my mask, I'm using Shrapnel Carnage. This makes your shrapnel procs hit weak spots more often and increases also shrapnel weak spot damage by 25%. Pairs well with your pistol and the pistol mod. Weak spot damage on top. For my pants, I'm using Bullet Siphon. For my gloves, I'm using munitions amplifier for weapon damage to balance weak spot and weapon damage bonus. The slow and steady, I'm using on boots I'm using the slow and steady simply because I don't have covered advance, but if you do have covered advance, you should use that since it's just better to use. Yeah, that's about it for this build. Okay, so for the second build that I used, which was the Kumawink bounce build. I'm moving on to the bounce build. So for my weapon, I was using the Kumawink MPS5 with 1 star and max calibration. For the calibration attribute, I'm using heavy style with crit rate bonuses. It's because this is a crit build, as you can see. For my gun, for secondary, I'm also using wildfire for that vulnerability. Same stuff with the other builds. For my armor, I'm gonna be using 4-piece lone wolf and one piece falcon. You can change this, as I'm using this because I don't have anything else to use. For my key armor, I'm using the prickly dance pants. I'm gonna show you later why. For the mods, I'm using not throw away your shot. Why? Because it bounces, it fares well with prickly dance pants. I'm gonna show you later. For my helmet, I'm using momentum up. For the mask, I'm using precision bounce. For the top, I'm using weak spot damage boost. You can change this to crit boost. I don't have it, that's why I'm using this one, unfortunately. For my pants, I'm using bullet siphon again. For my gloves, I'm using crit amp. For my boots, I'm using coveted bands. So as you can see, you should be focusing on violent suffix because for the crit damage. So why prickly dance pants and why pair it with not throw away your shot? As you can see, if you don't have these pants, okay, let's switch it up to sharp blade or sharp blade. It's the same thing. But switch it up to that. Look at the bounce. See, I have the not throw away your shot. If it, the bounce will bounce to me, but it will not bounce back again. So basically, I'm just getting the ammo bonus, not the damage, not the extra damage from the bounce. But if you are wearing this, the prickly dance pants or tattoo pants, you can see that the bounce to me will bounce back to the target, dealing extra damage. Yeah, it procs the bounce. Yeah, basically that's it. And that's it for this build. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so for the last build that I used on my silo run, for the weapon, I'm using the hammer Brahminy. I don't know how to read this one. So for the thing, what's it called? Yeah, for the calibration, I'm using stabilized style. Wait, no. Okay, for the calibration, I'm using stabilized style with weak spot damage. This you can change to anything you like. I'm just more comfortable with stabilized because it just shoots better. You can use rapid or something for the thing. For the I forgot what it's called. Yeah, but basically you can use that for the real speed. For my secondary, I'm using wildfire again for the bullseye. For my armor, I'm using 4-piece agent. My key armor is sharp blade pants for extra trigger count. Lone wolf for magazine capacity. You can use another one if you want. I don't have anything else. Oh, maybe renegade. But it's just dropped gear. Anyways, for my mods, I'm gonna be using on my Brahminy, on my hammer, targeted bounce, which prioritizes weak spot. The bounce will prioritize weak spot of the enemy. So if you shoot an enemy, it will trigger bounce. Then the bounce will prioritize the weak spot of the enemies that it will hit. Wildfire, same stuff with the other builds. For my helmet, I'm using precise strike. Precision, you're gonna wanna be focusing on precision for the weak spot damage. For my mask, I'm using break bounce for that extra 50% damage on enemies above 50% HP. For my top, I'm using weak spot damage boost. For my pants, I'm using unstoppable precision with weak spot damage. For my gloves, I'm using munitions amplifier again to balance the weak spot and weapon damage bonus. And slow and steady for my boots. Well, you can use the axe too. You can use the axe for pretty much everything for that fortress warfare buff. Yeah, that's basically it. Hope you learned something. Now I'm gonna show you how to do the combos or tips. First, do this off meta shop. You have to click it twice now for it to work. First, you wanna be holding your axe. Spawn your deviation. Right click, switch fast, drop that thing, and shooting like that. Didn't do it properly, that's why the low damage. Anyway, but that's how you do it. For the bosses, you're gonna be spawning your deviation first. I mean, hold your axe, spawn your deviation, throw the grenade, right click, switch, shoot, and shoot with your grenade. It's not a lot of preparation. It's actually pretty fast once you get used to it. Yeah, it's pretty easy. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, I guess. That's my build. Hope you learned something from it.